Good morning. I'll call our March meeting of the Delaware County TID to order and welcome you all here and ask that you stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Si. Is there any public comment this morning? Hearing none, I'll move ahead with item 3, which is the approval of our minutes from our January 8th meeting.
So move.
Second. Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Are there any reports from our board members?
None here.
Nope.
I'll share that our State Association of County Engineers has been involved in the testimony for the transportation budget, and I don't know, did any of you know whether the conference committee has convened to pass that? There are two different versions. One version, I believe, out of the House included an increase in the pot of money available for transportation improvement districts, but I don't know the status of that. So I'll share that with you once I hear. That's all I have to add to the reports. Item 5, Si, would you take us through your report?
Yeah, the current cash balance is $3,106,378.57. Also, our audit should begin soon, and then hopefully I can give you an update next month.
Great. Are there any questions for Si? Hearing none, I entertain a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
So move.
Second.
In a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The motion carries. Item 6 on our agenda, Rob, would you take us through your staff report?
I certainly will. Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Wanted to start. Did you act on the minutes? I'm sorry.
You did.
You did. Okay. I didn't mark that down. The activity for this month is really substantially the same as the last report I gave you, which is why I did not send out a meeting packet or monthly notes. I don't really have any significant project updates at this time. I will just very briefly walk through the projects that we're working on. Silicon Heartland projects, those are the roundabouts on Licking Delaware County Line Road. We are working on the right-of-way acquisition for those, the two roundabouts that we're administering, and working through the property purchase at this time. There's some public notifications that have gone out. We have some information on our website. If you happen to look, there is a project page on the Delaware County Engineers website, and there is also a project information page on the ODOT website. There, as you recall, we're administering the third roundabout at Route 37. So that is still on track to be that contract for our two roundabouts. We'll award that sometime later this year, with most of the construction happening in 2026. But that meets the schedule deadlines for the grant program that we're receiving funds through. So keep you up to date as we move ahead with the right-of-way acquisition on that project. Orange Road grade separation, nothing new there other than we're continuing to work with the railroads. We had a coordination meeting with Delco Water about 2 weeks ago. That project does include a temporary at-grade crossing. So while we're building the underpass on the current alignment of Orange Road, there will be a temporary at-grade crossing on the south side of the road. And if you look, there's a water tower pretty close there, so the temporary road would be fairly close to that tower, but there's enough room to squeeze that in. So working with them, still awaiting a grant agreement from the US DOT for the $21 million grant that we received. So nothing to report there, but I guess I skipped over the interchange project. Phase A, I believe, is currently out to bid. Bids are due, I think, later this month. ODOT is bidding that, and they're estimating contract award probably in late May on that project. So great news there. We'll keep our fingers crossed, hope for good prices there. Have talked with ODOT about the potential of if the bids are good and there's some savings versus the contract estimate, some of that money can potentially be rolled over to phases B and C. But we are continuing with the design on phases B and C. I would say we're probably 20%, 25% through the design of phases B and C. The right-of-way plans will be done probably this summer, and at that point we'll be able to make offers on, I believe there's 2 affected landowners, but hopefully that goes quickly. That's for phase B alone. Phase C will take a little bit longer to get right-of-way plans done. And then last but not least, Bell Canyon Road, Orange Township will be bidding that pretty shortly. We, as you recall, have a $750,000 grant into Orange Township for that project. That'll be a really nice improvement for that section of Bell Canyon. It's not in very good structural shape. The slopes are, I've noticed some slope erosion there, and it's pretty narrow, so that'll be a nice upgrade when it's all said and done. So, that is about all I have on current projects. If there's any questions, Tom?
With the delay with Intel, is any issues you're seeing or hearing, or are we going to be slowed up on any projects?
No, and I've heard the same delays that you have. I think we're moving full steam ahead on some of the local projects that we've got planned. In reality, when Intel was announced, it was going to be a very heavy lift to get some of the local road work done by the time that Intel had forecast their opening in 2025 or 26. So gives us, in my opinion, a little bit of breathing room. Yeah, so Licking County has a whole lot more work than we do in terms of their roads. They've got, and they did receive some pretty significant help from the state on actually upgrading their pavements. So they're doing long segments of road and rebuilding those. Duncan Plains Road, part of County Line Road, they're also rebuilding, as well as several other roads in the areas. That's probably in all, probably not a bad thing to give a little extra time for some of that to take shape. So.
Tom, everything we've heard is that the funding for the state funding for those projects did not get delayed along with Intel's schedule. So that's important
They're
takeaway for us.
Still within the bounds of.
What's that?
They're still within the bounds of the original agreement with the state.
That's what I'm told. But the funding we have is coming from a pot of money from the state to help fund local projects, and we've received no indication that funding commitment changed. So,
Yeah, thank you.
So, Rob, do you want to roll right into the discussion of the grant application and a project discussion, or do you have any new projects to talk about beyond that?
I have no further updates or new projects to talk about, so I'll proceed and talk about the ODOT TID grant program. I know you're familiar with that. We've made use of that TID grant program in the past. past. We've been successful in the past on at least a couple of projects. The most recent project was the home road at Sawmill Parkway upgrades that was several years ago, and we unfortunately haven't been successful on a grant application since then. What in discussions with Chairman Bosman, what we would like to propose for your consideration is submitting a grant application for Bixby Parkway Phase 1B, and Phase 1B extends from Route 36 up to Bowtown Road. So if you've been to our campus, our new Bixby building, Phase 1A was built from Bowtown up to Route 521, the new roundabout on 521. This would fill in that remaining piece at the south end and provide that connection to Route 36.
And it lines up with Glen Road.
And it would line up with Glen Road, correct. So I think in our opinion, it checks off quite a few boxes in terms of what ODOT is looking for in terms of a TID grant. There would certainly be job creation associated with some potential retail development off of Route 36. I know at least one parcel owner has indicated they've had some offers from retailers that would like to build off of this new extension. Obviously, it provides benefit to the county, providing better access to the Bixby campus, but also helps ODOT too. It provides some, it's another piece in the puzzle towards getting kind of a northeast arterial, I won't call it a bypass, but basically another route to get traffic from 521 to 36, and ultimately from Route 42 down to 36. Those would potentially be future phases. If you can picture 42 up around Cashman's, that would be a potential future phase. So I think, again, this would be a pretty strong application in my opinion. We're looking at approximately a $5 million project cost at this point, $5 million construction for Phase 1B. A big chunk of that would be the work on Route 36. We have to add a traffic signal pole and replace one that was already there. And it will do some of the turn lane widening on Route 36 for that. So with your consideration and approval, we will go ahead and proceed with that application. The deadline is the end of this month. Applications are open now, so we would need to act on this fairly quickly.
I like the idea of this, especially when it talks about coming across and tying 42 into 36. So I see where you've got a strong case for making a good application for this. My question is, you know pretty well what the alignment's going to be, you know what the road template's going to be. Have you given any consideration of going ahead and buying it right away now?
For the north phase?
For the phase from Bowtown to 36.
Yes, so one of those parcels is entirely within the city of Delaware. I appreciate you asking that. We've actually had a lot of conversation with the city of Delaware. They're actively pursuing and working on purchasing that right-of-way parcel, and then we have 2 remaining. This section was already designed. We designed the entire segment from 36 up to 521, right. Split it into construction phases. So we have the right-of-way footprint. We had previously done appraisals. We'll refresh those, and once we know the city is at least close to an agreement, if not entirely into agreement with the property owner, we'll go ahead and acquire the remaining 2 parcels that will be needed.
Okay, all right, thank you.
It's a good question. So, go ahead.
The amount of traffic, and of course, I'm on the west side of the county, and the amount of traffic coming across 42, a 2-lane highway, and 36, a 2-lane highway, I can't believe the amount of traffic that's changed in the last 2 or 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And that side of the county, I mean, we're working on the east side of the county, but that west side of the county needs to get a higher priority, I think.
There has been a big shift. I travel those same roads, same as you do. I can't get over how, particularly 42 between Bell Point and
Kroger.
how much how slower, how much slower that trip is than it used to be. It's really not free-flowing anymore. Now, those are the kind of things we really need to engage, we need to engage ODOT in those discussions. Obviously, our TID has the ability to work on state routes. We're doing that with the interchange project that Rob spoke of earlier. With ODOT's permission, we've taken a role in that and helped move that project. That's a good topic for us. We have ongoing meetings with the district staff at ODOT, and that's a good topic for us to add to that discussion. So,
And then getting right away for home road to go straight through on the 42, that's another one that I've thought about for a long
So,
time.
we've been, in fact, I met last week with the Union County engineer and talked about their plans for that home road extension on straight to 42. There's a gap in the middle of that, but you can see just north of the Kroger store, between Harriet Road and the Kroger store, you can see where that piece of road was built with the development. It's just not connected to 42 yet, and it's not connected from there over to Jerome Road to Blaney yet either. So, but it is part of that master development plan for that area. So our vision, our long-term vision of the home road to Lewis Center, to Big Walnut, to Sunbury, across the reservoir, to Center Village Road, to the county line, to Union County, and eventually over to
33.
yeah, with 33 on one end and 61 on the other end, and to Intel. We didn't know we were planning on it connecting to Intel, but it delivers it right to the front door there. So we've made a lot of incremental improvements along that corridor over the years, and there's some real keystone pieces left. That connection in Union County over to 42 and to 33, and obviously the Big Walnut interchange, providing access to that direct access to 71.
Is there a TID in Lincoln County?
Pardon?
Union County have a TID?
Did Union,
TID at Union?
do they have a TID? I believe they do. I don't think they're as active as we are, and we're not as active as some others, but I believe they have created that. I'll check that and verify it for you, Tom. So Rob's laid out this Bixby project. We don't have any other projects to suggest to you that would that we think would score any better or be a better application. But part of what we wanted to do is get any discussion or input from you as to whether there are other projects you think we ought to be looking at. Even if it's not this year, we could be developing a project for next year's round of applications if there's some areas you think we ought to give a hard look at.
Yeah, we ought to have some discussion about that, probably.
I'm sorry, Pat.
Excuse me, we ought to have some discussion about that,
Yeah,
probably at the next meeting, see what kind of recommendations you folks come up with.
yep,
But for now, this is the low-hanging fruit
yep.
that we should go for. Do you need a motion?
Yes, I think a motion authorizing us to make this application would be in order.
I'll make the motion to authorize applying for TID funding from MoDOT for the Bixby extension from Bowtown Road to 36.
Thank you, Pat. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. And we'll work on maybe a cafeteria plan of projects that we could talk about for future years at our next meeting. With that, is there any other business to come before our board? Hearing none, and before I adjourn, I failed to recognize Mr. Jeff Benton is with us this morning, and as always, Jeff, thank you for your support of what we do, so really appreciate it. And with that, I will declare us adjourned. Oh, we should probably talk about the next meeting. Is April 9th better, a bad day or a good day for everybody? And do you think we'll need to have a meeting on April 9th, Rob?
The only item of business I would anticipate would be the Stockwell Road Agreement. Doug Riedel from our office is still working with the 4 townships that would be impacted by that project on getting the agreement approved on their side. So if that is ready by April 9th, I thought it might be ready by today. It is not, but if it is, that would be good to go ahead and get that approved. But and then I would just say that our organizational meeting would typically be in May, where we would elect officers. We could either do that in April or May, I suppose.
Okay. So no conflicts or
That's
objections to
fine.
April 9th? Okay, that'll be our next meeting, and this time we really are adjourned.